As Gavin Newsom prepares to run for president in 2024, a major scandal just broke, revealing just how corrupt he is in offering his office for sale. Coming up, we got all the gory details and how we're shining a light on it. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and I've always told you that California politics are corrupt through and through because we live in a state with only one party control. And we also live in a state where the liberal media, they don't hold liberal Democrat politicians accountable for any of their misconduct. The latest display of that is Governor Gavin Newsom, once again selling his office to the highest campaign bidder. This guy always is out there pontificating arrogantly about how you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to follow this regulation. Of course, he and his political friends exempt themselves from these rules. But we also see an alarming pattern of corruption, pay-to-play politics, where Gavin Newsom exempts his campaign contributors from the very rules that all the other businesses out there are being forced to suffer under. The latest example is on the California minimum wage law that went into effect for the restaurant industry. This is for the fast food restaurant industry. There was a $20 minimum wage law that was just signed into effect. But now comes the alarming detail that Newsom and his team worked hard to get a special exemption put into that bill for Panera Bread. Well, it doesn't say for Panera Bread. It basically says that if you are a restaurant that bakes bread, if you're a chain, you can't just be any restaurant. If you're a chain restaurant that bakes bread and sells it as a standalone item, that you will not be required to pay minimum wage of $20 under the California Fast Food Accountability and Standards Recovery Act, the FAST Act. Now, what is unique about Panera? Panera has a major campaign contributor who owns a number of the franchise locations for Panera. His name is Greg Flynn. He's a billionaire CEO of Flynn Restaurant Group. And they have some 24 Panera Bread locations in the state of California. And so he has given repeatedly amazing amounts of money to the Democrat Party as well as to Gavin Newsom. He's worth $1 billion, and he's donated $164,800 to Gavin Newsom's campaign. And that's what it takes, apparently, to get yourself a special carve out to save you millions of dollars and basically tell the employees at Panera that, oh, they're not eligible for all the other minimum wage standards that the Democrats are giving out like goodies to all the other workers in the state. Now, Michelle Korsmo, the head of the National Restaurant Association, said that, quote, everyone is scratching their head about the bread exemption. Quote, you may be celebrating or you may be lamenting the bakery exemption, but remember, all of that comes through relationships. By the way, this is quite remarkable that the head of a trade association is throwing one of her members under the bus, revealing the swampy nature of Sacramento and the corrupt pay-to-play politics that one-party Democrat control has given this state. And this is not the only time. We've seen a litany of pay-to-play exemptions from onerous mandates with Governor Gavin Newsom. During COVID-19, Governor Newsom imposed all sorts of very strenuous mandates on you and me, on kids, shutting schools, small business owners required to keep records and put up plastic shields and have mask mandates and the sanitization rituals that were required. Except, though, the movie industry, the Hollywood elites, the liberal Hollywood donors came to Gavin Newsom and said, hey, we need to continue to produce our shows and our propaganda. So can you give us a couple of exemptions here? And that's exactly what he did. He gave his Hollywood buddies, who, again, all these movie houses, these media companies have given him gobs of money, and he gave them exemptions from the COVID mandates that he said we're all about public health and all about following the science. Well, it's actually follow the money, and you'll find special consideration is given to Gavin's buddies. If you take a look at who gets the contracts in the state of California, you will also find a sickening pattern of pay-to-play politics where companies are getting government contracts who contribute to Gavin Newsom. The Chinese company that got $1 billion contract for their masks, and that then Governor Gavin Newsom went to that Chinese company on a tour of China to promote their electric vehicles, which was very odd. California governor going to the manufacturing plant of a foreign nation to promote their manufacturing base, while his own manufacturing base is drying up because of the high cost of operating in his own state. Take a look at the government employee unions, all the goodies and giveaways that they get, not just from Gavin Newsom, but from California Democrats. Anytime the unions demand something, they get it. Massive pay raises, even though we have a $70, $80 billion budget deficit. Salary hikes and pension spikes, because the unions call the shots. The unions put Democrats into office with their massive campaign war chests. If you take a look at legislation, we always find that there is a pattern of the politicians getting a cut of the action. A lot of the laws passed in California are favorable to unions because they want more members to be forced to do a union. For example, there's something called a project labor agreement. And a project labor agreement basically requires that only union firms can bid on construction contracts involving state money. And if you only have a union company working the construction contract, only union workers can be working. And when you have those workers on that project, they have to pay dues into the union, of which a pretty sizable percentage goes back to the politicians. The latest scam involves Proposition 1, which is on the March ballot. You've got the Democrats promoting this. Governor Gavin Newsom's promoting it because you've got Newsom getting campaign contributions from the rich developers who will get the bond money that's from Prop 1. Prop 1 is a bond ostensibly to build mental health treatment facilities. Again, you're not going to see any mental health services from this. It actually raids a third of mental health dollars to build things. It builds these $1 million condos, and they give the keys away to homeless people with no strings attached, no accountability, no clean, sane, and sober living rules like other states require. But the developers are billing the government $1 million a pop for affordable housing units that then the homeless get. Well, guess what? The $1 million includes a bunch of campaign contributions that go back to politicians like Gavin Newsom and local Democrats that approve the projects in their neighborhoods. This is all corruption. It's pay-to-play politics in California, and we don't have an independent media to shine a light on all of this, but it is a pattern. A very clear pattern of how our government operates. We also see with Governor Gavin Newsom a pattern of benefiting his own personal financial situation. There is now a story out. It's from my good friend Susan Shelley, and I don't understand why it's not up here. So let me go ahead and click this. There we are. Susan Shelley reports on her Twitter feed about behested payments. What is a behested payment? A behested payment is when a politician goes and asks a company or another individual, a campaign donor, to contribute to a nonprofit organization, a 501c3. Gavin Newsom's wife runs her own 501c3, and she earns millions of dollars off of that 501c3. But here you have all of the payments that Gavin Newsom is soliciting on behalf of his wife. And Susan Shelley provides these payments of $83,000 from the Pritzker family, $25,000 from California Chamber of Commerce, which has all sorts of legislation and issues before the governor. An Indian tribe gave $500,000. The Abzadeh Foundation gave $100,000. This is all just in the past year. Over $2.5 million in total payments that Governor Gavin Newsom solicited and received on behalf of his wife. And then his wife, of course, makes millions of dollars from this so-called 501c3 charity. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, smells like a duck, it's a duck, or in this case, it's corruption. This is graft. And, the reality is Governor Gavin Newsom controls contracts, which means that unlike any other sitting legislator or politician, Newsom can actually approve or disapprove financial benefits directly for each of these entities in a way that no other politician can. And that's why he's raking in $2.5 million from these special interests. What is he getting in return? Well, we know what Panera Bread got in return. It's very clear that there was a very niche consideration, a special benefit granted to that donor. Look, California politics is broken. The only way for us to change course in this state is to throw the corrupt bums out. That's why I'm running for California State Assembly, to get inside the belly of the beast, to continue to shine a light on things like this and bring it to your attention so that you know what's going on with public offices that should be serving the public rather than these special interests or the politicians themselves. But I can't fight this fight alone. So go onto our website, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution, and of course, like and subscribe to this channel so you can continue to stay informed on these issues, because it's not like the liberal media is going to shine a light on Gavin Newsom's corruption. We also know that Gavin Newsom's running for president, and all of these issues need to be aired. We all need to make sure that nationally people know just how corrupt. He's got a for sale sign that he's erected right in front of the front door of the governor's office. And he's done this for years with no accountability. So help us do that. Go to exposegavinnewsom.com, exposegavinnewsom.com, so that you can spread the word. We're going to need all the help that we can get in order to alert America when he runs for president. And I am absolutely convinced that he's running for president. Alert America to the corruption of Governor Gavin Newsom before it's too late. He makes Joe Biden look like some sort of, random smash and grabber. This guy is really selling his office at every turn in California with no accountability. It's time to hold him accountable. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.